This is Porch Lore. And I'm your host, Devin. This is the tale of the detour. Okay, so I need to tell you about one of the weirdest nights of my life. I've been doing solo road trips since I was an emancipated 17-year-old whose parents lived in Ohio while I was still finishing high school in North Carolina. I've become very comfortable being on the road alone. I honestly almost prefer it at this point. Just me and the miles ahead of me, the windshield sunset in my eyes, like a watercolor painted sky. Well, last September, I was driving from Ohio to Virginia, avoiding highways because if I have the time and it's not too many added miles, I really do love to take the scenic route. All the tiny towns just have so much character, and it's just peaceful country cruising without another car for miles. It's truly a serene way to road trip, but it can also have its downsides, like taking you a little further away from cell towers, which can cause your GPS to glitch like mine did, right around the Ohio-West Virginia border. My GPS ended up spazzing out and rerouting me to some back roads that I did not recognize. These roads looked like they hadn't been paved since the Nixon era. And that's how I ended up in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Cute name, right? Sounds like a Hallmark town. But the second I crossed the Welcome to Point Pleasant sign, my car started making this gurgling noise, like it was choking. I pulled over into a gas station with a flickering neon logo. Mothman Gas & Co. Real subtle. I called AAA, but the guy said it'd be 6 hours. What? 6 hours? It didn't even take the tow truck driver from Vegas to come get us in Death Valley 6 hours. The sun was already dipping behind the hills, and the only motel in town had a sign that said, "No vacancy." But also, weirdly below it, it read, "Beware the bridge." I figured it was just some local joke. So there I was, stranded in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, sitting on the curb outside the gas station, when I realized that I actually had cell service here. So I decided to Google Point Pleasant. And there it was. Endless websites describing Point Pleasant. The Mothman, red eyes, wings, a bridge collapse, UFOs, and all kinds of weird, unexplained encounters and conspiracies. And I was stranded here, alone. The cashier inside the gas station sold moth-shaped cookies and I Love Cryptids t-shirts. I bought a coffee that tasted like motor oil and asked if there was a library or something nearby to kill time. She pointed down the road and told me to follow the river. Then she told me not to linger after dark. Okay. The library was closed, of course. So I did linger. Yes, I did. And I wandered toward the river past the bridge. Well, the new bridge, I guess, since the old one collapsed in the 1960s. The Ohio River looked black, swallowing up the sunset. It was pretty much completely dark now down by the river, and there were no streetlights. Then, my phone lost service again. All I could hear was the sound of the water and this strange humming, almost like a transformer about to blow. I turned back towards town, and the streets were completely empty. No cars, no people, and now even the gas station lights were off. Panic started to creep in. And that's when I saw something rising out of the weeds. They were concrete bunkers. The haunting remains of World War II. They were the ones used as a TNT storage area, and they were actually considered ground zero for Mothman sightings. Well, since my curiosity is insatiable, and I love a good adventure, I decided just to check them out really quickly. The first bunker had graffiti, a winged figure with red eyes. Cute. As I walked up to the second one, the beam of my flashlight caught graffiti. "Beware the bird" was spray painted on the bunker. Funny. But then, A sound. Not an owl, not a deer, a low, vibrating hum, almost like power lines buzzing. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I turned, and there in between the trees, 2 glowing red lights. Then I started to realize they weren't lights. They were eyes, glowing like hot coals. They hovered 7 feet off the ground. The thing stepped forward. My legs turned to cement. I swear my brain short-circuited. It was tall, 7 feet, maybe, with hunched bony shoulders, skin like wet charcoal, and wings, not bird wings, but not bat wings, something in between, folded tight against its spine. Those eyes, they glowed, not like reflectors, like they were lit from the inside. I turned and ran. Branches clawed at my arms, slowing my escape. Then I tripped over some roots and tore my jeans. I didn't even care. The buzzing sound followed behind me, vibrating in my skull, but I didn't dare look back. When my feet hit the paved road, I quickly glanced back as I ran, and the creature was on the bridge, perched on the railing, head tilted to one side, looking at me almost like a curious dog. Then it spread its wings, and they were 10 feet wide, easily. And it let out a horrifying screech that sounded like a train braking. I ran all the way back to my car at the gas station, jumped in, and locked the doors. AAA finally showed up at midnight. The tow truck driver didn't ask why I was shaking. He just nodded when I mentioned seeing something odd by the river. He told me that I was the 3rd highway traveler this month to somehow get rerouted to Point Pleasant and end up stranded right at sunset. I slept in my car in the parking lot of the auto shop until it opened in the morning. After an inspection, the mechanic found nothing wrong, and my car started up and ran like it had never had a problem. I paid him, thanked him, and got back on the road. As I drove back onto the highway, I noticed something in my passenger seat. It was a feather, black, thick as my thumb, and reeking of sulfur. It could just be a crow feather, and blew into my car during my road trip. Maybe I'm overreacting. Or did the Mothman leave me some type of peace offering? He clearly didn't want to hurt me, or he absolutely could have. I know I never could have outrun him if he had actually been hunting me. And to be honest, it almost seemed as if it was sad that I turned and ran away from him. Even though I was scared out of my mind, I oddly felt bad for the creature. I have no idea what I encountered that late summer night in West Virginia, and I'll probably never be able to confirm what it was. But am I going to take this feather somewhere to have it tested? You bet I am. Thanks for joining me, Porch Pals. If any of you have your own spooky or unexplained experiences, I'd love to hear it. Shoot me an email and maybe I'll tell your story next.